Before we dive into today's show, I want to ask this question right off the top. Do you think the Browns can make the playoffs if Deshaun Watson is suspended at all? Whether it's 2, 4, 6, however many games it may be, do you think the Browns can still find a way behind Jacoby Brissett for X amount of games to make it into what's already a stacked AFC playoff room? Let me know what you think down below in the comment section with a simple Y for yes or N for no. What's going on, Browns fans? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson, and coming up on today's show, we got the latest Deshaun Watson news as some news came across the wire yesterday about Deshaun meeting with the NFL, and now we're getting some more nuggets coming out of that. So let's break it all down and compact it on today's show. So, report came out yesterday. Watson was meeting with the NFL this week sometime in Texas before he took the entire offense on an awesome trip to the Bahamas. Ball's in your court, Myles Garrett, who, by the way, just got a new agent. Anywho, some insiders in the NFL believe a decision regarding a potential suspension could be coming soon, right? It wouldn't be necessarily, I don't think fair is an appropriate word, but let's use it, fair for the Cleveland Browns to go into the entire summer of OTAs and into training camp wondering who is the starting quarterback week one, okay? If you want to suspend Watson, let us know now so we can move forward with plan B and get Jacoby Brissett some, first team reps. Now, there's another thought out there that a suspension could be paused until 2023. So if the civil suits and the law side of this, the legality side of this does not get resolved before the start of the 2022 season, they've already prearranged, that's Deshaun Watson's lawyer team and the plaintiffs, that there would be a postponement until 2023. And that Watson would just play this entire season. Now, the big question is, when will we know the decision? When will the NFL come out and announce when or if Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended? So Mike Florio at Pro Football Focus, I thought, wrote a very interesting article about this, and I want to share it with everyone. Florio said, don't be shocked if word of a league's proposed suspension becomes the centerpiece of the Memorial Day weekend bad news dump. Maybe on Thursday instead of Friday to make it less obvious. Right? Florio had more on that, but an answer should be given soon. Okay? I think we should expect to hear something from the NFL, I would think soon, because, like I said, it wouldn't be very fair or kind to the Browns to make them stand in limbo waiting this whole time, wondering. Now, Florio would go on to say, then, the disciplinary officer would kick the process into gear in June, perhaps issuing a decision just in time for the July 4th bad news dump. Then the appeal would unfold in July. So, that's where I go back to. An answer should be given soon, all right? Now, it would be not very NFL, more like very MLB of having a news dump come at a very inconvenient time for them. But I think Florio's kind of on the money here. Would the NFL try to time it up with 4th of July and Memorial Day when people have got other stuff going on, and it just won't receive as big of a spotlight as it would on, say, I don't know, May 22nd when there's absolutely nothing going on except OTAs are about to start. So, will Deshaun Watson be suspended at all? We're going to have more on this and an interesting breakdown of what the next steps could be. But let me know. P for play or S for suspended. What's going to happen to Deshaun in 2022? Time for you to get your votes in down below. I personally think the NFL, and I'm not alone in this, has had plenty of time to have a better understanding of the situation and not sit on their hands and let this drag out further and further, okay? I understand that the NFL is going to have big mumbo-jumbo legal talk of, we are not discussing an open investigation and we are still conducting an investigation. I get it, but also, no, I don't get it. You've had plenty of time. So if this goes into August, shame on Goodell. But it's not like Roger Goodell has a track record of being an awesome commish. Coming up, what are the next steps, though? So what can we expect to see in terms of what a resolution could look like? A nice 4-step train of like a flow chart All right, that's coming your way in just a moment. But if you want to get the best Browns YouTube content, make sure you subscribe. We're almost at 9,000 subscribers. I greatly appreciate everyone that's hit that big red button and subscribe. And if you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and do so. And then make sure you tune in for our live show. We go live here at the Browns Report every Wednesday at 3 Eastern. And that's a testament to all of you guys who have already showed up to the show. Listen, the more audience we get, the more I can nudge and bug my bosses to get more live studio time. So make sure you join us. Type me if you'll be watching Wednesday, tomorrow, maybe even today, depending on when you're watching this. 2 Central, 3 Eastern. We'll see you guys there. Now, what are the next steps for this entire Deshaun Watson saga? Well, a very interesting flow chart that came out of how the NFL's personal conduct policy works and with the CBA and the NFL. And so I think Charles Robinson at Yahoo kind of sets us off and sets the table well. He says, under the latest collective bargaining agreement, the question of whether Watson violated the league's personal conduct policy is ultimately expected to be weighed by former U.S. District Court Judge Sue Robinson. Robinson has been chosen by the NFL and the NFL Players Association to act as an impartial arbitrator in disciplinary cases such as Watson's. So, stemming from that, here is step 1 of what could happen. Option 1, I think we should say. The NFL finds there was no personal conduct policy violation and nothing happens to Deshaun Watson. No suspension, no monetary violation. It's an open and closed case. That's it. The NFL says you did nothing wrong. You didn't violate the conduct policy. That's the end of this investigation. Let's hope for that. But let's be prepared for maybe what step 2 could bring. Step 2 is NFL finds a violation occurred. All right? And now the arbitrator has to do their job. Sue Robinson steps in and presents a decision. So she gets to say, kind of the judge and the jury, whether he did it or he did it in her eyes, based on the evidence the NFL presents to her. Now, if the arbitrator determines there was no violation, that's step 3 here. So now we get the split, okay? So the arbitrator gets the facts from the NFL after the NFL says there was a violation. Arbitrator says, nope, I disagree, no violation. Then there is no punishment for Deshaun Watson, and the NFL cannot appeal it either. And that's under the latest CBA agreement, collective bargaining agreement between the NFL Players Association and the league. Let's go the different route, though. Let's take a right at that fork. The arbitrator determines a violation of the personal conduct policy did occur. So now the arbitrator can determine a punishment for Deshaun Watson. All right, the arbitrator can come in and say, and I believe an appropriate punishment for this would be a suspension for X amount of games or a fine, whatever it may be. The arbitrator also has some moral power here. Right? I should say the NFL, okay? The NFL can disagree with the punishment. Let's say the arbitrator says, all right, I believe, I guess guilty is the right word here, of violating the personal conduct policy, and for that, you're going to be suspended 2 games. The NFL doesn't like that. Let's say the NFL wants more than a 2-game suspension. They can appeal it to Roger Goodell. And Roger Goodell, he's got the final say on some of these suspensions, all right? Well, on all these suspensions. So that's a lot of legal mumbo-jumbo to digest right there, but I think that's the best flow chart to understand what the next steps will look like in this entire saga of will Deshaun Watson play in 2022 or will he be suspended? Let's say he is suspended. Well, we'll have plan B in just a moment, what that could look like for Jacoby Brissett, what to expect out of that, what Browns fans should be expecting out of that. So with that all in mind, what's your confidence in Brissett? This is a big quarterback room. I'm telling you right now, Baker Mayfield's not playing. Okay, I'm not entertaining the idea. I've said it before on the show. If Baker plays, I'm flying up to Cleveland in December and jumping in Lake Erie. I'm doing a polar plunge. Producer Marsh right now in my ear says he'll double down. He'll join me too. He didn't know that, but now he's with me. So let me know what your confidence level is in Jacoby Brissett. Scale it 1 to 10. Before we get to more Jacoby Brissett and what plan B could look like, I want to tell everyone about what's going on over at BetUS. That's our proud sportsbook partner that is powering today's show. That's also giving you a 125% deposit bonus for following 2 very simple steps. Going to chatsports.com/bet, using promo code Browns125, boom. Let's say you deposit $100, now you get $125. What do you want to bet on? How about some NBA title odds? Because the odds are only going to get worse for your team probably, or whoever you think they're going to be, whoever's going to win, if you wait for them to make it to the championship. So I would not say bet on the Dubs. for a lot of reasons. But what about, I like the value of the Heat. I know the Heat they're a very well-rounded team. Plus 400 means you bet $100, you win 400. So make all your bets over at BetUS by going to chatsports.com/bet and using promo code Browns125. Let's entertain the hypothetical here. Deshaun Watson is suspended for 4 games. All right, maybe it's a 6-game suspension. He appeals it and they bring it down to 2. So if Watson is out for 4 games, here's what the Browns' schedule is and what he would miss. Week 1 at the Panthers, I believe Brissett could go into Carolina and beat Sam Darnold. I believe Brissett could hold on to win against the Jets at home. Week 3 versus the Steelers, hard to say what Pickett or Trubisky will look like, but you know Pittsburgh's never an easy out. Brissett versus Mariota at Atlanta, that may be a coin flip because it's on the road, but yeah, I give me that. Listen, I think if you're the Browns here and you want Brissett to, keep the ship afloat, he's got to go 3-1 if it's a 4-game suspension in that 3-game stretch. Whether you pull off, I wouldn't say necessarily an upset win at home against Pittsburgh, or you drop a game on the road in Carolina, right? First game of the season, people are still slow moving, whatever it may be, or it's in Atlanta, because, I don't know, I think the Falcons down the stretch last year with Arthur Smith were better than we maybe remember them as. Ultimately, my rule of thumb for backup quarterbacks, they should go 500, right? That is a good sign of, hey, your GM put together a good backup plan, because 50% of starting quarterbacks miss time in the NFL like every single season. Whether it's they miss a start, a handful of starts, half of the teams at one point have to start their backup quarterback. So the idea of, hey, let's just bang on and hope for our starting quarterback playing the entire season is a bold idea to do that, all right? There are some quarterbacks who you just know, they're Ironmans, all right? Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning. But as we get to a new generation of QBs, right, the Mahomes, the Allens, the Herberts, we're still learning, are these guys Ironmans because they're still young in their career, or do they have a little kryptonite? Do they have an Achilles heel? Whatever it may be. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in to today's show. And also make sure you tune in to our live show tomorrow, Wednesday, 3 Eastern, 2 Central. Set a reminder, whatever you got to do, join the YouTube Dog Pound. Type me if you'll be watching. Really appreciate all the love and support you guys have shown as we've gotten these live shows more on a routine weekly basis. I need a good audience to, make it happen every single week. Hit that big red button, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for our live show with a live Q&A, the latest Browns news and rumors, whatever it may be. But until then, go Browns.